Hi everyone, I welcome you all for this session on performance testing using Neoload Tool with Dynatrace and Jenkins. So let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Mohan. I do have 8+ years of experience on performance testing. I worked on multiple tools like Loadrunner, JMeter, and NEOLOAD, and I worked on Dynatrace and Jenkins too. And I'm a NEOLOAD certified professional. So let's quickly jump into our today's agenda. So in today's agenda, we are going to discuss about what is performance testing first, right? And also we'll understand what is Neoload tool and why we are going to use that Neoload tool and what is the architecture of Neoload tool. And also we'll record one particular flow with the help of the Neoload tool. Okay. And finally, we're going to see the course content here, right? So in order to understand what is performance testing first, so I just want to give an example, guys, so that like it will be clear for you that like what exactly the performance testing is, right? So let me quickly jump into that example. So the example here is like there is one person called Mr. X. He is having one retail company, right, wherein he's going to sell his products offline, right? So till now, like he's selling all his products offline. So in order to expand his business, right? So one idea came to him that like he want to expand his business and he want to sell the products through online. So immediately what he did is like he approached one software company, okay, and provided his requirement to that company, right? So this company people there is one team, right, from that company who gathered all the requirements from this Mr. X, right? And they developed one application, right? They developed one web application, or I can say simply one e-commerce application, okay? And they deployed that application into the production, right? So as that online application is the new one, right? So initially during the first year, right, very less users are accessing that application, right? But in the meantime that application became more popular. Slowly the user load on that application is increased. That means more number of users started accessing that application and started booking their products through that application. So now what happened here is like initially when less number of users are there on that application, right? So that application is working fine. But because of the demand, as more number of users are accessing that application, right? Now the application is not behaving as expected. That means when instead of like 100 users, if 500 users are accessing the application, that means if more number of users are accessing the application, then what happened, the application is unable to handle that high amount of user load. So and it is giving the responses very slowly, right? As the servers are overburdened over there, right? So it is giving the responses very slowly. That means we are getting some high response times over, right? So immediately what happened, this Mr. X, again, he approached to this software company and mentioned whatever the issue that they are facing right now. So because of that slow response, right? So some of the customers, they are not visiting that application again. So he's losing the customers, right? So that is the reason why immediately he informed the same to the software company team, right? So the quality lead, right? So what he or she did here is they understood what exactly the issue is, right? So the issue is because of the performance of the servers, right? So what happened here is the infrastructure, whatever that they built initially, right, that is not sufficient now to handle that high user load, right? So that is the reason why they are seeing that issue. So they found what exactly the issue is, and immediately this team, they informed to Mr. X that like in order to understand how the application is going to behave under high user load, we need to do one kind of testing, right? So that type of testing, we are going to call it as the performance testing, right? So you may get doubt that like, okay, initially also some testing is done before the deployment of the application, right? But what exactly this testing is? right? What is the difference between the normal testing and the performance testing? You may get doubt, right? So let's clear the doubt with this particular slide. Software testing mainly divided into three different types. One is functional testing, second one is non-functional testing, and the third one is maintenance testing. So let us quickly try to understand like what is functional testing on a high level, right? So functional testing is a type of testing which we are going to do in order to verify whether each and every feature of the application is working fine or not as per the requirement, right? So we are going to test here the functionality of the application, right? So coming to non-functional testing, it is a type of testing which is going to majorly concentrate on the non-functional aspects of the product, like especially like what is how the performance of the product is, right? Or how the performance of the application is, okay, what is the stability and usability of that application, right? And coming to the third type, that is the maintenance testing. So it is a type of testing which we are going to conduct once the application is released into the production, right? So generally, like what happens is like once the application is released into production, there are chances that we may see some issues, right? So we are going to see some bugs and we need to fix that particular bugs, right? So fixing that particular bugs, and if we want to add any new features to that, so those things will come under the maintenance testing part, right? Hope you got some clear picture of what are the three different types of software testings that are available, right? So with this basic idea, we'll quickly jump into the next slide so that you'll get the proper definition of what exactly the performance testing is, right? So on a high level, like what the performance testing is nothing but it is a software testing process which we are going to do in order to test the speed, response time, stability, reliability, scalability, and resource usage of the application under particular workload. That means, in a simple way, I can say like this: we are simply putting some more user load on the application, and we are going to verify how the application is going to behave under that particular user load, right? So this process we are going to call it as a performance testing. This type of testing we are going to call it as a performance testing, right? So finally, like with this particular performance testing, what we are going to verify, right? So what we are going to check, right? So these are the three major things that we are going to check. First one is the speed, right? Like we are going to see like how speed the application is, and the second one is scalability, right? So we are going to understand, like if we do this performance testing, right, we are going to understand that how much user load that my application can withstand, right? That we can identify. And also the stability, right? So stability here is nothing but like, let us say if the user load is varying, sometimes it is high, sometimes it is low, okay, sometimes it is more than the expected high load, right? So under those different varying load conditions, how your application is going to behave, right? So these things we are going to identify as a part of performance testing, right? So this performance testing is a crucial thing, guys, for any kind of application where more user load is there, right? So some of the examples that I can say here is like, let us take the banking application, insurance domain applications, right? Healthcare domain applications. Okay, these are all the places where there are chances that more users are going to access the application, right? So especially in these places, like performance testing is mandatory nowadays, right? So with this basic idea, we'll try to jump into the tool part, right? So let me quickly go to the next slide wherein I can introduce you guys the what is Neoload tool. So Neoload tool is a performance testing tool, right? So and it is a low price high efficiency load and stress testing tool. So with this tool we can do load tests as well as stress test on the application, right? On which type of applications we can do? On web applications as well as mobile applications. That means we can test the web applications as well as mobile application performance with the help of this Neoload tool, right? So you may get doubt that like what is the tool required, like why the tool is required here in order to test the application performance. Can't we test that manually? Means no, we can't do the, or we can't test the performance of the application manually, guys. Okay, so the reason is so simple, right? So whenever if you are going for the performance testing, you need to go with high user load, right? So like you can't ask like 1,000 or 10,000 manual testers to sit and send the request at the same time, right? So what we are going to do here is we are going to take help of the tool, that is the Neoload tool, right? So what this tool will do is it is going to simulate the traffic. Okay, like how 1,000 members are sending the request to the servers manually, right? In the same way, this tool is going to do that, right? It is going to simulate the traffic, right, through virtual users, right? These are nothing but tool generated users. Virtual users are nothing but tool generated users, guys, right? So with the help of the virtual users, this tool will do the same thing, right? This tool will do the same thing. And also this tool will help us in order to do the test executions, as well as in order to analyze the transaction response times, right? And also to pinpoint the number of simultaneous users with which we can send the request, right? So these things we can do with the help of the tool. Okay, so that is the reason why in order to do the performance testing, we need a specific tool, guys, right? There are different tools that are there in the market, like Loadrunner, JMeter, Gatling, Neoload. Okay, many other tools are there. So out of all the tools, like Neoload tool is one of the best tool that I can say, right? So it is like low price tool. Okay, even though if it is like a licensed tool, it is of low price. That is one major advantage, and it is so easy to use, guys. So that is the reason why like nowadays most of the companies like who are using Loadrunner, they are slowly migrating to Neoload. Okay, I'm not saying like the entire companies are moving to Neoload, but some of the companies, those who can't bear the high praised license, right, they are moving to Neoload now, right? So now we have like good openings in market also for Neoload, right? So initially this particular Neoload was developed, designed and marketed by Neotis. Okay, Neotis is a company who did all these things, guys, initially. But later on, Tricent is a company which acquired this Neoload. So now we are going to call this as the Tricentis Neoload. It is no more Neotis Neoload. It is the Tricentis Neoload right now, right? So with this basic idea of what exactly the Neoload tool is, like why we are going to use it. So we'll try to understand the architecture of Neoload right now. Coming to the Neoload architecture, this Neoload architecture mainly divided into three different parts, guys, right? So the first part that we need to know is controller, right? So controller is the place where we are going to design our scripts, okay? And also we are going to enhance our scripts, and we can do the test execution setups, as well as we can do the test executions also, right? Test execution triggering can be done with the help of the controller itself, right? So the second part here is the load generator part. So as the name itself indicates that it is going to generate the load, right? So this infrastructure, this load generator infrastructure is, again, we have like divided into two types. One is the cloud load generators, and the second one is the on-premise load generators, right? So if your company is having the enough infrastructure, then we'll go with on-premise, right? Again, if your company is using the cloud infrastructure, then we'll go with the cloud load generators, right? So what the load generator will do is it will generate, or it will inject the load, right? It will trigger the load, and this users, whatever triggered from these load generators, will start sending the request to the server. Okay, so that is what the load generator is going to do. And the third part and the important part is the network emulation and device simulation, guys. Right. So in this part, what we can do is whatever the users like in real time, right? In real time, what happens? So some of the users they will use mobiles in order to place the order, and some of the users they will use tabs in order to place the order, and some users they will use mobile phones, right? And for some people, Wi-Fi facility is available. Some people they will use 4G networks, and some they will use 3G, right? So if you want to execute the test by in a realistic manner, then we can choose this network emulation as well as design simulation options, guys, device simulation options. So that we can do the setup over here, and we can send the request in the same way like how in real time normal users are sending the request through different devices, right? But at the end of the day, whatever it may be the device, okay, from which we are sending, so at the end of the day, what will happen? So this load generators will simply generate the load, and these users, right, will send the request by using any of the device to the server, right? Automatically server will respond back, right? Whenever if one request is going to the server will respond back, right? And that response we can see it in the controller again, right? And this controller is the key part which is going to control the entire flow here, right? So this is the basic idea of what exactly the neoload is, right? So with this basic idea, guys, I'll stop it here for the theory part. Let me quickly jump into the practical scope right now, right? So let me quickly record a script particular flow for you guys with the help of the Neoload tool. I'll show you like how we are going to record it in a high level right now. As a part of this demo session, I'll go in a high level, but once if we start the regular sessions, right, we'll go in a step-by-step process, guys, right? So now let me quickly open the Neoload tool. So once if you open the Neoload tool, you are going to see this kind of user interface. Okay. So here, the first option that we are going to see is the new project. So if you want to open a new project, then you can click on this, right? If you want to open the existing project, you can use this option. And if you want to open the sample project, which is going to help for you, you can use this sample project also, right? Option also. And also whatever the recent projects that you already opened, right? So that recent projects list you can see under this recent projects option, right? So our aim for today's session is we are going to record the application, right? So as a part of recording the application, we are going to click on this new project. That means I'm simply opening one new project. So once after clicking on the new project, you're going to get one tab here. You're going to see one pop-up over here. So wherein it is going to ask you the project name, right? So as of now, I'm going to record one application. Okay, that application name is like Pet Store. So I'm going to give the name as Pet Store, right? Pet Store underscore demo, right? As it is a demo recording, I'm just giving the project name as Pet Store underscore demo, right? And if you see like the project location, this is the place your entire project is going to save, right? So once after giving the project name as well as the project location, just click on finish over here, right? If you want to change your project location, you can change it to some other place by using this browse option. But anyhow, I'm not going to do that right now. So let's click on finish for now, right? So once if you click on finish here, it is going to open that particular project with the name petstore underscore demo, right? So if you see on the top left corner, like where my mouse is there, right? So you can see the project name over here, like whatever the project name that we have given, you can see that here, right? So once the Neoload project is open, right, you can see three major tabs under this, right? So the first tab is design tab, and the second tab is runtime tab, and the third tab is result tab, right? So if you hover the mouse on this tabs, right, you can see clearly what exactly each and every tab is going to do, right? So if I hover the mouse on design tab, so this design tab is going to use or is going to design the project, okay? Is going to be used in order to design the project. That means in this particular place itself, under the design tab itself, we are going to record our flows and we are going to do the enhancement for our flows. Okay. Now coming to the runtime tab, right? So runtime tab is the place where we are going to set the scenario and run the test. Okay. Set the scenario in the sense we are going to do the test execution setup, as well as we are going to trigger the test from the runtime tab itself, right? And the third one is the results tab. Okay, this is the place where we are going to analyze the results. Okay, so these are the three major tabs that you're going to see once the Neoload project got opened, right? So let's quickly start the recording process, right? In order to do the recording process, we need to go to the design tab, and under design tab, you'll again find three different tabs, that is user paths, population, as well as monitors and connectors, right? So user path here is nothing but scenario, guys. So in Neoload terminology, we are going to call each and every scenario as a user path. Okay. So whatever the recording that you are planning to do, you need to do under the user path itself, right? That option is available under the user path, right? So let's ignore the other two tabs right now. So as our main aim for today's session is to do the recording, right? So let's quickly go and click on this start recording button, which is available under the user path, right? So once if I click on start recording option, one pop-up will open wherein it is going to ask me to provide the scenario name, right? So to provide the user path name, right? So I'm trying to simply go through the navigation of the application, guys, right? So I'm going to simply navigate the application here. So that is the reason why I'm just giving the name of the user path as navigation flow. Okay, navigation flow, right? And after giving the name, right, you have one option called record in, right? So what we are going to do with the help of the Neoload tool is nothing but we are going to record whatever the user actions that we are going to do on the browser, right? So all that user actions, whatever got recorded, we need to store it in some place, right? So the next option is that, right, where it is asking where you want to store that recorded content, right? So I just want to store that recorded content under actions, right? So here under user paths, we are going to generally have three different containers. First container name is init, second container name is actions, and the third one name is end, right? So generally at the time of starting of recording, you're going to see only the init as well as actions over here. Once the recording got started, then you can see the end container also, right? So if you want, you can store the recorded content under init, or if you want, you can store the recorded content under actions also, right? So by default, it is going to provide you the actions container only. So for now, I'm going to record the entire flow and I'm under the actions itself, right? So apart from that, like you have options to choose the different type of protocol which you want to record, right? So we can record the web protocol, as well as we can go with the SAP GUI protocol. Okay, we can record the Citrix protocol, as well as this option, real browser option, is introduced recently. So we can record through the help of, like with the help of this real browser also, right? So for now, I'll go with the web option, right? Under web, you have the option to choose the browser there. So here I'm choosing Google Chrome as my browser. So whatever the actions that I'm going to perform on this Google Chrome will get recorded by this Neoload tool, and it is going to be placed under the container called action right now, right? Once after selecting the browser, right, you need to select these delete cookies as well as clear cache option. And once after selecting that, just click on OK, right? So once if you click on OK, right, it will show one pop-up for you. So wherein it is going to ask whether any browser instances are open, like do you want to close that, right? So if you click on continue, what the Neoload tool will do is it will close all the browser instances, okay, which are already open, and immediately after closing that, it is going to open the Chrome browser instance here, right? So now instead of using this Chrome like normal Chrome instance, what I'll do is I'll go for the incognito mode, guys. So I'm just clicking on these three dots and I'm going for the incognito mode, right? And whatever the recording that I'm planning to do right now, right? So I'll use this incognito mode browser only, and I'll do all the user actions in the incognito mode browser so that my user actions are going to be captured by the tool, right? So once the recording got started, right, you can observe this pane opened here, right? So this is the pane which I am moving right now, right? So this pane has different options, guys. So the first option that you are seeing in the red color is nothing but the recording option, right? So it is going to simply give us whether the recording is under process or not, right? So if it is highlighted, now I can say like recording process is going on right now, right? The second option that we have here is pause the recording. If you want to pause the recording, you can use this. If you want to stop the recording, you can use this, right? And if you want to store the recorded content in any other container, then you can select that container option over here. Now if you observe, like, you can see the end container over here. Initially, before recording, you can see only the init as well as actions, but now you can see the end container also, right? And also you can see like init got disabled, right? So now you can't record anything under init, right? You can record either under actions or under end, right? But for now, I'll go with the actions itself. And apart from that, one more option is there, that is nothing but transaction, right? So this transaction option is very useful, guys. So this is the place where you are going to give which type of action you are trying to record, right? So let us say I'm launching the application, right? So I can give the transaction name as launch over here, right? So as of now, I'm just giving the transaction name as launch, and I'm going to launch the application here, right? So which application I'm going to record right now is nothing but it's a pet store application. It's a sample application, guys. So this application I'm going to record it right now. So in order to record that, in order to do the actions, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass the application URL over here, right? So here I'm going to pass that application URL, right? And once after pressing enter, what will happen? One request will go to the server and server is going to give the response back, right? So that sending the request and receiving the response, okay? So I'm going to call it as one action, right? That action is going to be captured by the Neoload tool, and it is going to be stored under this actions container, right? So that transaction name, I'm going to call it as launch. Now launch has happened successfully, right? Now the next step is I'm going to click on this enter the store, right? So I'm just giving the transaction name as enter the store, right? So once after giving the transaction name as enter the store, just click on enter the store option over here, right? So once if you click on enter the store, so we are going to land on the store page, right? So now, as I mentioned, this is the navigation flow. What I will do is I will navigate through each and every pet tab which is available over here, right? So as a next step, what I will do is I'll click fish tab, right? I'll click fish over here, right? So I'm just clicking on the fish tab over here. So I'm just giving the transaction name and clicking on the tab, right? So whatever when like that is happening after clicking on the tab will be captured by the tool over here, right? Now as a next step, I'm going to click on docs, right? So let me quickly do all the navigations over here. Let me go for reptiles, and let me go for cats. Let me go for last one, that is birds, right? So I'm just clicking on the birds, right? Now I navigated through all the tabs that are available over here, right? So with this, my navigation flow is completed. So what I'll do now, I'm going to stop the recording right now. So once if I click on stop recording option, right? So one pop-up will come over here and it is going to finalize the recording process, guys, right? So once your Neoload tool finalized the recording process, it is going to open one pop-up again, right? wherein you can see all the server names, okay, which got recorded, okay, by the Neoload tool, right? Here, if you observe, so these are all the different server names, okay, which got recorded at the time of this recording process, right? So all the server names are not required for us. So only the server name which we used, right? So that is the only one which is required for us. So what I'm doing, I'm unselecting all the server names, and out of all the server names, this is the server name which is required for me. So I'm selecting that, and immediately I'm clicking on finish, right? Once if you click on finish, right, you can see on the left hand side under the user paths, you can see the name called navigation flow user path, right? And under navigation flow user path, you are going to see three different containers, right? So one is init, second one is action, and third one is end, right? And whatever the content that we recorded, right, so that entire content got stored under actions only, right? So if you want to verify that, just click on the plus symbol over here in front of init. So as nothing is there, so it is not showing anything. And in similar way, if you click on the plus tab before the end, it is not going to show anything. But if you click on the plus tab under the action before the actions, right, so here you can see all the transaction names here, right? So whatever the transactions that you made on the browser, so you can see all the transactions over here, right? So let me quickly open the transaction here. Launch is one transaction, enter the store is one transaction, fish, clicking fish is one transaction. Like that, we have different transactions over here, right? So if I see here, right, before launch also I'm having one plus symbol, right? So if I click on this plus symbol, see, I can see different pages under this particular transaction. Okay, the flow is going to be like this, guys, right? So user path, right? Under user path, containers will be there. Under containers, transactions will be there. Under transaction, pages will be there. Under each page, request will be there, right? So this is the main request, okay, or this is the application URL which we tried to record, and it got recorded successfully, right? In the same way, for each and every transaction, you can clearly see that specific transaction request as well as the other embedded resources got recorded over here, right? So like this, we are going to do the recording process in Neoload, right? So once after the recording is done, we are going to do the enhancements and everything, right? Once the enhancements is done properly, then we are going for the test execution part after doing the test execution setup, right? So this is on a high level, this is the recording process, guys, right? We'll see the enhancement part and everything as a part of our training, right? Uh, so now what I will do is I will show you like how we are going to do the test execution. And as I mentioned, like this training, in this particular training session, I'm going to integrate the Dynatrace with Neoload, and I'm going to do some like I'm going to find out where exactly the issues also, right? So as a part of that, I'll give you a short demo on how we are going to trigger the test in Neoload, and also how we are going to see the test execution process in Neoload SaaS, and also we'll see like how we can find out the issues in Dynatrace also on a high level right now, right? So I did all the related settings over here, like I created the populations, and I created the test execution setup and everything. I added all the Dynatrace links which are required over here, right? Now with this particular script, I am good to go ahead with the test execution part. So immediately what I will do is I'll go to this runtime tab, and I'll start doing the test execution over here. So once like in order to do the test execution, you need to click on this play button, right? So once if you click on this play button, right, it will open one pop-up. As of now, it is asking for license management. So what I'll do is like I'll change the time here to 30 minutes. I took the license only for 1 hour, right? So I'm just changing the time to 30 minutes over here. So now let me quickly start this particular play button. So once if you click the play button, right, so here yeah, you need to provide the test name, right? So for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the name as load test underscore pet store, right? So this is the name that I'm going to use for this particular test, right? So with this name, once after giving the name, right, if you click on this play button, right, so once if you click on the play button, your test execution is going to start. So now let's quickly see that, right? See here, test initialization is going on right now, right? So slowly all the users are going to be ramped up here. Let's wait. So once the users got ramped up, right, you can see the same test execution, runtime test execution process in Neoload SaaS, right? So now see here, the users are the test is initialized, right? And sending data to Neoload Web also is done. Neoload Web is nothing but Neoload SaaS. Okay, now you can see like the users are slowly ramping up here, right? You can see this blue color line, right? So here the users are slowly ramping up, and on the bottom side you can see the request as well as the response times also, right? So now I can say like the test execution started over here, right? Slowly all the users are going to be ramped up. So in the meantime what I'll do is I'll show you the Neoload SaaS, right? So whatever the test that we are executing here, right, so if your team wants to see that particular test, what you can do is you can provide them the Neoload SaaS URL, right? So that they can monitor the test from there and also with the help of the SaaS tool, right? So let me open the browser, and I already logged in into this Neoload SaaS tool. So this is the Neoload SaaS tool, guys. So I just logged in, and under the home, right, you can see this option like running tests and everything. I'll clearly explain like how you are going to register for this Neoload SaaS and everything as a part of our training, and how you are going to create the dashboards over here. Each and everything I'm going to explain clearly. But for now, as it is a demo session, I'm going to show you the running test for now here, right? So under the running test, you can see this is the load test underscore pet store. So this is the test which is running right now. So if I click on that particular test, right, I can see the test execution process clearly over here, right? Whatever that I'm seeing on the browser, right? If I share this particular link, right, if I share this link to the Neoload web URL, whatever that you are seeing here, right, to my team, so they can also see the test execution process going on, like how the test execution process going on in the Neoload SaaS, right? And also from here we can identify like what are the different issues that we are seeing and everything, right? I'll explain each and every point clearly in our regular sessions, right? So while the test is going on, right, so let me quickly jump into the Dynatrace part, right? So what I did is I integrated my application to this Dynatrace, and especially I integrated my Neoload tool also with Dynatrace here. So that integration and integration process and everything I will explain as a part of training. But let me quickly move into the Dynatrace. So once if you open the Dynatrace, right, you are going to see this user interface, guys. You will enter into the dashboards. You will land into the dashboards page, right? So if you want to see which services you are hitting and everything, you can filter it by services over here. I'll explain each and everything in a high level here right now, right? And this is the service which I am hitting right now here. So my like whenever if my test execution is going on, this service is going to be called. And here I have the option of selecting the time. So what I'll do is I'll select the time, right? So 23:47 is the time when I started the test. So what I'll do, I'll put the same time over here, like under the custom, I'll schedule the time as 23:47 and 2 till now, right? I'll click on apply. So it will take it will take minimum 5 minutes to load the things. So what I'll do, I'll change the timing to 5 minutes. And here, if you go to the view dynamic request, under view dynamic request, you can clearly see whatever the request that we are sending here, right? If you observe, right, this is the test wherein I have two failures, right? So here we have different tabs like response time, failure rate, CPU throughput, and everything. So you can see the failure rate over here, right? You can see the failures part, you can see the response times, right? And also you can, if you scroll down, right, you can see all the requests, right? From here you have different options like distributed traces and trace options, so that like you can identify easily what exactly the issue is and where the response times are high. Okay, so whether the CPU utilization is normal or not. Okay, these things you can identify easily with the help of the Dynatrace, guys, right? So this is the way how we are going to do it. No worries, I'm going to explain each and everything in a proper way, like as a part of our training session. You'll get enough knowledge on how you can integrate that Neoload tool with the Dynatrace and how you can identify the issues, okay, with the help of the Dynatrace also, right? So this is all about the demo part which I showed right now. So let me quickly stop the test here as a demo thing, right? I'm just going to stop the test right now. So once if you stop the test, right, you can see the results, right? You can see that results under the results tab also. So see here, this is the results tab. Automatically your tab is moved to results tab from runtime tab. You can see the entire results over here. Okay, you can see the entire results over here. It will take some time to generate the results over here, right? So this is the results page wherein you can see the entire results part and everything, right? So with this, the Neoload tool demo is done, right? So now let me quickly jump into the course content, guys. As a part of this course, I'm going to cover whatever the topics that I'm going to cover. I'll show you right now, right? So let me quickly open the course content. So this is the course content which I'm going to cover, guys. This course is completely divided into 9 different modules. The first module is Introduction to Performance Testing. So wherein I'm going to discuss the basic introduction of what performance testing is, what is application architecture. I'll explain about performance testing life cycle, and also I'll explain about what are the different types of documents like NFR gathering, test plan document, traversal flow document preparations, and also like I will explain what are the different components of request and response, and also I'll explain about the developer tools and the workload modeling part as a part of this first module. Okay, so once this module is done, I'll quickly go to the second module. Second module is related to the installation of required softwares. So wherein these are all the different softwares that we are going to install. So once this module is done, then we will go to the introduction to Neoload tool. So as of now, whatever the introduction that we have seen is a high level. So I'll go through the each and every concept in depth over here as a part of this introduction module. Okay, so once that is done, we'll go to the script and scripting and enhancement part, right? So what are the script that we recorded? So we are going to do the enhancement for that. So what is enhancement and how we are going to do that, and what are the different like options that we have, right? How we are going to record and how we are going to validate it, right? What is the flag feature, right? How we are going to correlate the dynamic values, right? What are the different methods that we have, like in each and every way we are going to see here, right? And also what are the different logical options that are available, right? And how to use that, and what are the different variables that are available, how to use that, right? And what is service level agreement, okay, how we can do the setup of service level agreement, and also how we are going to give the assertions are nothing but validations, right? So how we can do the setup of these assertions in our script, right? And also populations, how to set up the population and how to set up the monitor counters, right? So monitoring counters, we are using Dynatrace, right? So different counters are there that we can do the setup. So that setup we can see here as a part of the fourth module. So once that is done, the fifth module is the test design and execution part. So wherein we are going to create different types of we are going to do that different types of test execution setups, and also we are going to do the different types of test executions also,
and different other options what are available in the runtime tab. We are going to see all those options as a part of this fifth module, right? So once that is done, I'll go with the sixth module, that is the monitoring the test results with Dynatrace. On a high level, I already showed you like how we are going to integrate the Neoload with Dynatrace, like how to monitor the different services in Dynatrace, how we are going to use this distributed traces and traces option, right? And also how to monitor the server CPU memory utilizations and everything. So we are going to discuss as a part of this sixth module, right? So once that is done, we'll go with the seventh module, that is the result analysis and report generation. So we are going to identify any bottlenecks are there. So if at all, if it is so, we are going to report it properly. So that result analysis and reporting part will be done under this seventh module. So once that is done, we'll move to the advanced topics, right? There are different advanced topics, including Jenkins integration with Neoload. I'll cover all these advanced topics along with the ninth module, that is the Neoload SaaS, right? Whatever the Neoload SaaS which I showed you on a high level, we'll go deep dive into that Neoload SaaS module, and we'll see each and every concept related to the SaaS module clearly under this ninth module, right? So this is the entire course content which I'm going to cover as a part of this training session. So hope you like this demo, guys. So if you are interested to be a part of this training, please feel free to contact me. That's all. That's all for this session. Thanks for attending this session.